Go ahead and start our awards presentations. I do want to invite you all to please continue eating, but since Ashley has given us such a great lineup this afternoon, I want to make sure that we kind of stay on track with it, but please keep enjoying your lunch. Our first award that we're going to present today is our Past President's Award. So I'm going to invite Dan Pfeiffer to come up on the stage with me, please. And Dan is our immediate past president, and this is going to be awarded to him for his distinguished service in the Indiana Trial Lawyers Association. So Dan, I'm handing you, or presenting you with the award for distinguished service to the Indiana Trial Lawyers Association and to the legal profession, November 6, 2023. And I'd like for you to say a few words, if you would.
Thank you. Thank you, Emily. First of all, I know the organization is in good hands with Emily. She's doing an outstanding job. One of the things that I reflected on is I started in the chairs for ITLA at probably an older age than most. And for those of you who are my age or older, I think you'll understand as we get older, we become more reflective. We're not as adversarial perhaps as we once were, but we're more reflective on things. I remember when I first became an attorney, one of the judges told me that the most important thing that you can ever take with you is your integrity and your trustworthiness. And the reason why I mention that is this. We have an organization here with ITLA that is as trustworthy as you can be, and its integrity is beyond reproach. We have incredible relationships with the legislature because of the fact that when we say things to them, they may not always agree, but at least when we say things to them, they can trust what we are saying. I think we have an incredible relationship with the judiciary, with our amicus team. We don't win every case where an amicus brief is filed, but I think it's safe to say that when our amicus briefs are filed, they are looked at seriously and considered seriously by the judges or the justices. And I think that those traits are because of the staff that we have in terms of Jason, Sarah, Amanda, Jen, Matt, Warren. I think I got everybody. We have an incredible staff of people. And what is very clear to me is integrity and trustworthiness is at the top of the importance list for them. Because of that, and because of their philosophy, that reflects well on this organization. And as I go into my retirement years as an attorney, I hope that I'll be able to look back 10, 15, 20 years from now at this organization and realize that nothing has changed, because honesty, trustworthiness, and integrity are the most important thing for an attorney and for this organization. We have it, and it's because of the staff that we have here. So staff, thank you very, very much.
I will now invite Susie Talevsky to come up and join me. Susie is our Consumer Advocate Award winner. She was nominated by George Gray for this award. Susie, if you'd like to say a few words, and then I'll present you with your award.
Wow, thank you. So thank you so much to the Indiana Trial Lawyers Association. I am so proud to be here, and I'm so grateful to all of you. Thank you, George, for nominating me for this great award. So we did something really great this year. We won a Supreme Court case, and this Supreme Court case will have huge ramifications here in the state of Indiana for our elderly and disabled nursing home patients. So some of you may have been following the case, and you guys know the story. It's kind of a wild ride. It started off in Valparaiso in Indiana, and it started off with my own father, who was maltreated at one of the nursing homes owned by the Health and Hospital Corporation of Marion County. And at that time, you know, I did reach out to the State Department of Health. We did win one of these internal appeals, and Health and Hospital Corporation decided not to abide by it. This was for an involuntary transfer. Well, this set me off on a journey that, you know, started off actually like in early 2017, and here we are in 2023. And when I started looking into why they are not abiding by the federal law, the Federal Nursing Home Reform Act, well, I found out some very, very problematic issues here in the state of Indiana and what is going on with our nursing home patients. And of course, I found out about the scheme, the Medicaid scheme. And I found that all out from this book here, The Poverty Industry. And that's where I found out who actually owned Valparaiso Care and Rehabilitation, that it was not owned by American Senior Communities, but it was actually owned by the Health and Hospital Corporation of Marion County. You know, I couldn't find any medical malpractice attorneys to help me because of this very onerous and restrictive Medical Malpractice Act that we have here in Indiana, which really deprives people of access to the court. So when I found out who actually owned it, that it was a government agency, and we have a federal law, of course, the biggest federal civil rights law came into my mind, which is 42 U.S.C. Section 1983. And I decided, you know what? I think we can sue them with this federal law. We can take them to federal court. And it was just an idea that popped into my mind one winter night, very late at night, actually. And the next day, I got on Westlaw and I did some searching, and I found a case from an attorney out in Pennsylvania, and he's here with us today. His name is Bob Daly. I want to recognize Bob because he was really the originator of these type of nursing home civil rights cases, and I found the Grammar case. I got so excited when I found this case. I cannot even explain to all of you. I was like, oh my gosh, look at this. All I have to do is replicate what Bob Daly did, in the Third Circuit. I'm like, we can replicate it in the Seventh Circuit. So then I tried to find civil rights attorneys. That was almost impossible also to find someone to help me. But I did find one gentleman that did help me. That is my friend there, Jay Meisenhelter. Thank you, Jay, for taking this wild ride with me and taking it all the way up to the Supreme Court. So we got very lucky in this case. As all of you know, we had a very big law firm that came in out of nowhere, just really out of nowhere, after we got dismissed in the Northern District of Indiana. And they wanted to help us take it to the Seventh Circuit. I tell you what, it was a godsend because it was when the pandemic started. And I was so worried about my father being in the nursing home, and with the pandemic, with the coronavirus, I didn't know if he was going to even make it. But they came in to help us, and we won in the Seventh Circuit, as you all know, 3-0. And I really thought that was going to be the end of this story, right? But, our opponents on the other side, they are really, really relentless, right? They will fight to the end. And they decided to take it up a notch, really big time, right? They petitioned the United States Supreme Court. But the big issue in front of the Supreme Court was way beyond this very narrow issue of the nursing home civil rights type of cases. It was actually a monumental case. They wanted to deprive American citizens of their very long-standing rights, about 50 years worth of rights, and they wanted essentially to deprive them of being able to hold state or local governments accountable for violations of their federal rights under any of the spending clause programs, any of the social safety net programs. This would have been absolutely devastating to disabled people and anyone who is a recipient of any type of social safety net program, which is about 100 million people. And so this case became what I would say is like a monumental case, okay? So we fought all the way to the end. We had 25 amicus briefs, and you know, 3 of those amicus supporters, of course, all of you are my amicus supporters. Thank you to Ashley Hadler. I don't know where she is, but she wrote an outstanding brief. There she is. And she came actually all the way to the Supreme Court to watch the case. Thank you for your outstanding brief, and all of you, ITLA. Thank you to Bob Daly, who wrote an excellent brief, and for the Pennsylvania Association of Justice. And I want to acknowledge Emily Munson. She's back there. She's from Indiana Disability Rights, and she wrote one of the best briefs. You know, this was very much a case for Hoosiers to fight it all the way out. Obviously, it was all Hoosiers up there, right? And we did fight it all the way out. And everybody told me, and I mean everybody under the sun, who's a top litigator, Supreme Court litigator, movement attorney, all the big civil rights organizations, disability rights organizations, women's rights organizations, they all told me that we're going to lose this case 6-3. But you know what? God had a different plan for this case, a very different plan. And I knew that we could win this case because I had very much confidence in my appellate attorney, number one. Number two, I had a lot of trust actually in the Supreme Court, which may be very, very odd for a lot of people. And then I had a deep faith in God. And I knew we could win this case because this case was pursued for a whole lot of love from my own father and from my fellow Hoosiers. So I hope the Indiana trial lawyers will start taking these cases on behalf of nursing home patients and start holding these nursing homes accountable, because this is just the beginning, because my ultimate goal is to make sure that we improve the quality of care for all nursing home patients in the state of Indiana. And all together, we can do it. And I hope you guys will help me out. Thank you very much for this great honor. Thank you.
And this is why I love what we do, making a difference, and people who are passionate about the work that they do, and it's just always impressive and wonderful to see, so thank you. And speaking of people who are impressive and wonderful to see, our next award winner is the Hoosier Freedom Award, and this is going to Judge Margaret Robb. She was nominated for this award by the ITLA Executive Committee in recognition of all that she has done throughout her years of service. So at this time, I would like to invite Holly Wojcik up here along with Judge Robb for this award. So maybe stand up here while she talks about you.
So I am so honored that I get to be here today to present Maggie with this award. We met over breakfast a few years ago, and we started talking, and right away we stopped talking about what we were there to talk about, and we started talking about everything else. And I had seen this interview with some women about how to be intentional as we get older to make friends. And so I said to Maggie after our breakfast, I said, I think we should be friends. And she goes, I do too. And so I said, what should we do? And I said, how about let's go to a flower show? She goes, nope, I kill every plant that I own. How about a baseball game? And I said, I'm in. So our friendship started then, but what I found really amazing about her was I was in her office one day, and she's moved now. Everybody knows she moved from her big office. She had bookcases filled with awards and pictures that kids had drawn and letters and trophies and all of these amazing awards. And I said, what award did you get that means the most to you? And she goes, I don't know. I don't know which one's most important. She said, I just sort of feel ordinary. And I thought, ordinary? This woman that I admire and that I love feels ordinary. And so today, giving you this award, helping give you this award, I hope you feel extraordinary, because you are. You're an extraordinary friend, lawyer, judge, woman, and I'm really proud to know you.
I didn't know I was supposed to say something. I think I do feel ordinary because I have such wonderful friends who I admire and who've taught me so much. I guess during my career, I've hoped that I've fulfilled the promises that I've made, that I've completed the things that I said I would do, been honest with my friends. I always joke and say you get law in this life, justice in the next one, but occasionally we get to do some justice. Whether you've won or lost, I've always hoped that my opinions have showed why I did what I did. I know I'm going to make one person happy and one person not happy. My success is when neither side's happy. I figure then I've really done a good job. Terry Crone's going, yes, absolutely. You've always been very kind and gracious and hospitable to me, whether I've been presenting or just here as a guest. And I know I could call any one of you for something if I needed something, because I have. And you've just been good friends. And I look out in the audience, see Mary Beth. Mary Beth was the first lawyer here I knew. She went to grad school with my husband and been friends for a long time, but made so many new friends, that very long time friends, and I'm just extraordinarily grateful because I am ordinary. Just look at all you've all accomplished, and that's why I feel ordinary.
Before I present our final award of the afternoon, we are going to have an opportunity for pictures after this, so if you'd like to wait around and talk with anyone or get some pictures taken, I encourage you to do that. So finally, the Trial Lawyer of the Year award goes to a very deserving person who's also very impressive, as we all know. Sarah Graziano is here with her family and friends, and I'll let you do some introductions. But I would like to thank her for being here. She was nominated by Tina Bell. Unfortunately, Tina is not here today. But I would like to invite John Hensley up to introduce Sarah.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me. Thank you, Sarah, for asking me to do this. I'm truly honored. It's truly my honor and my privilege to be here to award such a remarkable person and a talented person to such a deserving award. Sarah, you embody the essence of what this award stands for. The work that you do is inspiring. You know, what you do for your clients, what you have done for your team, you have forever changed some of your clients' lives. The work that you've done this past year is nothing short of remarkable. I've never seen anyone work as hard, be as committed to the right thing. So impressed by that. You overcome obstacles. You do things that others say you shouldn't, do things that others say you couldn't, all in the name of doing what is right. And I am so impressed by that. You spend countless hours in your preparation. You invest so much in your clients. They know you. You care for them. You want to change their lives. So many times, people have told you no. They've shut you down. They told you you couldn't. They told you you shouldn't. You are a courageous warrior. You do the right thing. You lock in. You don't let up until you do what you need to do, and I appreciate that. You are the definition of a trial lawyer. I've known you for many years. We went to law school together. You've had nothing but opportunities, and you've taken that opportunities and you've made the most of it. And I am so impressed by that. The work that you do helps us, helps our firm, and helps all of our profession. You are an inspiration, a valued teammate, and a good friend. It's truly my privilege to present ITLA's Trial Lawyer of the Year. Well deserved.
As Sarah makes her way to the stand, I'm going to read the award. It says, Indiana Trial Lawyers Association Trial Lawyer of the Year, presented to Sarah J. Graziano for distinguished service to the citizens of Indiana and the United States as a leading member of the Indiana Trial Bar and dedication to the preservation of the rights of the injured under the laws of the state of Indiana and the United States of America. November 6, 2023. Sarah, we're pleased to present you with this award. Well, I've known John since 1996, as we met in Valparaiso, and most of the time we fight like we're brother and sister, and a lot of people in the firm know that, but he has been a remarkable person to not only work with, but he has become a great friend. It's been 27 years since we met, and I was 2 years into my practice, and I was a defense lawyer. Don't shoot me now, but I was a defense lawyer, and I worked for a great firm. It was Good and Craigie at the time. And those guys were such a good group of trial lawyers. And so John calls me and says, hey, I'm going to expand my PI practice. See you in? And he says, before you answer, you're going to have to take a pay cut. You're probably going to work longer hours than you've ever worked, working harder than you are, but I think we can get this off the ground. I decided that I needed to make the leap because as much as I loved the people that I worked for on the defense side, I never felt like it was my calling. Spending days as a defense lawyer trying to figure out how to screw somebody was not the way I wanted my career to go. But more importantly, what I realized, and I realize every single day, is that people that choose lawyers, depending on who they choose, is depending on how much insurance companies will pay them. And so people that try cases and fight and lobby, they end up doing better for their clients. And I felt like this is what we need to do. This is what I need to do in my career, is to figure out to be one of those people that they can truly trust to get the best for their clients. So, John, thank you. I mean, it's been a journey. We've had our ups and downs, but I would never have wanted to be on this journey without you. Katrina Hildebrandt is here, and people probably don't hear Katrina's name very often. She is not a litigator by choice. I think she had a small claims case when we were very young. We had about 3 lawyers in the firm, and she had to go into small claims. She vomited before she went into small claims court. So litigation was not her calling. But she has been with the firm over 25 years. She started as a law clerk, and she has been with us every step of the way. And it's so incredibly valuable what you do for the firm and the backside. So thank you for sharing this with me today. So Trial Lawyer of the Year, when I didn't even know I wanted it until Tina called me and said, I'm nominating you for it. And then, of course, I hate losing anything. So at that point, I really wanted it. So I thought, how do we do this? But as a young lawyer, I saw individual after individual get nominated and then get the award. And I thought, could I do that someday? Could that be me? And to stand up here in front of all these people that have helped me over the years, numbers of phone calls and emails and everything that I do. If I don't know something, I can call somebody to be recognized by those individuals to say, we feel like, Sarah, you are a warrior in the courtroom, so we want to honor you with our vote. And I thought, okay, great. Now how do we win this thing? Like, how do we do this? And then Jason Bell called. And Eileen and Jen were in my office. These are my right hand, because without our team, we can't do any of it. And I was thrilled, I was speechless, and I didn't even know how to celebrate it at that point in time. So then Christina in our office, before anybody else knows, before I call John, before I call Patrick, who's my partner, she sends the email out to the firm. And so, but it was great. It was good to know, because Christina's been with us a long time. So, but one of the things I will say is none of us do this for awards or accolades or, to be part of the limelight. We do it because we love our clients and we believe that they are deserving of our hard work and our dedication and our sacrifices, and to stand up to bullies and give them a voice when they don't know how to give a voice. They don't know what to do or how to do it. And so that's why we do it. That's what keeps me going every single day. And so there are so many people that have helped me along the way, but there are a few that I call on often, and I do want to
I would be remiss if I didn't talk about him. And I'm sure that most people in this room, when I say the next name, have the same experience I have, is Lee Christie. You have been invaluable to my career. You have been a mentor so long. I had a couple of defense cases with Lee, and we all know he's the easiest guy in the world to work with. I would like to think he didn't take advantage of my inexperience when I was 2 years out. I don't know if he did or if he didn't. But when I switched over to the plaintiff's side, Lee was nothing but a cheerleader. He helped me with everything. Anytime I called, he made time for me, and I bet everybody in this room has a very similar experience with Lee. So thank you, my friend, for everything you've done. I appreciate you. There's a couple other, I don't know if Scott Faultless is here today. Man, that guy is brilliant. So anytime I need to legal maneuver something, I call Scott because he always has a case or has something. So he's been invaluable as well. Jay Hoffman, are you here? No. Well, you can just tell him I talked about him. So Jay, I saw him speak about 10 years ago, and I thought, who is this guy? I didn't know who he was. And he was so captivating, and he's so giving. And so I've kind of followed him, and he's been great to me over the years. But there's other people, Bob Johnson, Travis Jensen, Judge Altice, Kate Frankie, Tina Bell. Where is Betsy Green? Betsy, oh my gosh, Betsy, you're just a warrior for all of us, especially for women. So thank you all for everything you've done for us as an organization, for us as women in the law, because sometimes we know it's not as easy to be someone that's a fighter in that courtroom because we get labeled a lot of different things that men don't. So thank you for being that warrior, all of you. It is really hard to talk in front of people you respect and care about. So Amy Pardick is also somebody that changed my life about 5 years ago. I started doing focus groups with Amy, and I have changed entirely how I try cases and how I look at cases and how I help clients. Focus group with her if you have a case. She will change your life and she will change your client's life. So Amy, I owe a lot to because she's blunt, which I appreciate, but it also changed everything that we did moving forward and how we look at cases. And then there's my team. I could not do what I do without the team we have. Eileen Archie, I want you to stand up, please. We don't know what we're going to do when she goes on maternity leave. We told her she's one and done because we can only do this one time. But Eileen Archie is the behind-the-scenes person, and she makes me a better lawyer. She is amazing and helps us get cases ready for trial. She has just been a godsend. Jen Rizzer, I know you're taping this, but you need to stand up too. Jen is also, she joined us about 2 years ago, and she helps Eileen when Eileen has too much on her plate. And she's tried a couple cases with me, and one of them from last year that I think was talked about in the nomination. And then there's Spencer. Some people know Spencer. Spencer really stepped out of litigation about 8 years ago, but he is the person that manages all of us, and he is always my number one cheerleader. Go do it, Graz, or go do it, SG. That's what they call me at work. And so thank you for all you've done. It's been a pleasure to work with you. So he's supposed to be my manager, but I don't really talk to him like a manager. Yeah. And all the litigation attorneys in our firm, you inspire me every day to be better and do better so we can be better. So thank you all for all that you do. Kelly, we just tried a case, really tough loss, but we just tried a case together, so thank you all. And there's Patrick. Took me a long time to find a person that could tolerate me because I'm so easy to get along with. But I didn't even know I wanted it 6 years ago when him and I met. He is by far the kindest, most loving person that I've ever had in my life. I didn't know that I wanted it. I'm not sure I was ready for you back then, but I think the universe was telling me different. When I told him about this award, he was incredibly proud and just overjoyed. You make my heart and my face smile every single day, and I'm so glad to have you by my side, and I'm glad you came today. So thank you, honey. sometimes they are unsung heroes, right? Because they know the sacrifice, and they're a big part of the sacrifice when you can't spend time with them or do what they do, or just get out of the room. I cannot talk to you right now. But he's very tolerant, so I appreciate you. You know, I think the award is often about our trial successes and not necessarily about our trial losses. But I feel like my trial losses have shaped me more as an individual. They build character, and as a trial lawyer. So we've had some great success the last couple years, there's no question. Obviously, the Lucas family, the one I tried with Chris, talk about a passionate human being. So the verdict, we had to fight tooth and nail. They changed firms on the other side more than once, and then we fought this case through and through and worked really hard. It was a young man that had a severe TBI. His IQ was very low, of a 9-year-old. That's what he was going to be the rest of his life, so he was going to need care for the rest of his life. It was a beautiful family. They had come over from the Dominican Republic. They were wanting to have a better life, and they were building it when he got T-boned by an ambulance, speeding down the roadway, not on an emergency run. They were just killing time. He was in a coma for many, many months and came out of it. And after speech therapy, occupational therapy, and months of therapy, he was as good as he was going to get. He was never going to be able to live on his own. He was a beautiful young man, still is. They are very precious clients to us, and when we got the verdict back, you know, we would have settled the case for a lot less than the verdict. And when the verdict came back, I mean, it was amazing. Obviously, it was life-changing for them and for us as well. But Chris, the client had to console Chris afterwards, so, but that's how passionate he was, that's how much he cared. And to work with someone like that, it was amazing. So thank you, Chris, for all that you give as well. And then there was the Gonzalez case that we tried. Man, that defense lawyer was unrelentless on liability. And we ended up getting 100 against the defendant and 0 to us. So that was a huge victory, but it was another client of ours that I feel people would not have stood up for him because he was here and he came over and he had broken English, and so we stood up for him and got a great verdict. But those successes were great and I loved them, but we had 2 tough losses this year. And so one of them, we fought for the client. We felt the offer was low, so we went in and fought. We barely broke even. Those sting very much. And then we had another case that we just ended about 2 weeks ago. And we fought for this client because we felt like it was the right thing to do. I think we went in knowing we were going to lose on liability, or likely going to lose most often. But we did it anyway, and we stood up for them. And what we did for that family to give them a voice is why we do what we do. It is such an honor that we get to do this for individuals every single day and to give them a voice. And I'm privileged to do it, and I feel like it's my honor that I get to work every single day doing this. So thank you all for the votes, for the nomination, and I will never forget this. It's truly one of the highlights of my career. So thank you.
We actually have a couple extra minutes, and I still have the microphone. So, Sarah actually touched on this, and I want to acknowledge it because I think it's important. And it is the role that women lawyers are playing. And if we look at this, the 3 award winners happen to all be female. Our annual Institute Chair, Ashley Hadler. We also have Judge Margaret Robb, who was the first female elected as a Chief Justice or Chief Judge of the Indiana Court of Appeals. Justice Rush has been here with us, female on the Chief Justice Supreme Court. And for those who may not know me, I've never really had to deal with I've never really thought of myself as a female trial attorney. I've just been a trial attorney. And that's in large part because I've had my entire practice with my dad, and he's never treated me any way differently because of my gender. but I know it's not the same experience for a lot of people. So we have people like Mary Beth Ramey and Betsy Green and other leaders that have come before and who've paved this way that now I'm not sure very many of us would have even thought about it had we not drawn attention to it. And so I want to thank those who have been making an impression, have been making a difference, so that we can have days like today. So thank you all. This does wrap up our awards luncheon. Thank you for coming. We want to remind everyone to join us at the conclusion of today's seminar for a reception hosted by the Hensley Legal Group, and that will be at Loftmiller's Pub. At this time, we will be heading back to hear from Bob Daly at 1:30 on his topic From Grammar to Talevsky, Litigation of Nursing Home Civil Rights Cases. And for those who would like to stay and get some pictures and that kind of thing afterwards, I encourage you to do that. Thank you all.